Well, hello and welcome. I'm Peasant, and this is going to be another Spirit Island Zero run, and we're looking at Lightning Swift Strike here. So first, a bit of an overview of the Spirit, kind of general ideas, and then a playthrough where I'll try not to contradict too many of them. Okay, so Spirit Lightning Swift Strike is actually a quite tricky Spirit, and a few things that are potentially slightly counterintuitive about it. Although the things like the tracks look very simple, actually playing the Spirit it does have a few nuances that aren't necessarily straightforward. But I'll try and cover them here. So first thing to look at with this Spirit is the tracks, and you notice there this card plays track is incredible. Look at that, up to 6 plays, lovely stuff. The energy track is a little bit more lackluster. And up here you've got some growth options, and here's something really tricksy. You've got a double presence option, a +2 range, and then 2 range and then 0 range. So you can make a sacred site somewhere at 2 range away is one way of thinking of it. And this is obviously placing presence is great. You definitely want to be placing as much presence as you can. So you will be favouring this where it's possible. Okay, and then we've got our innate, so we're good at destroying buildings. It's fairly so we like fire and air for that reason, and a little bit of water. This actually, the water is kind of tricky. And if you look at our start cards here, you've actually only got one of our start cards has the water on. So let's say you played all of your start cards, you'd need another fire from somewhere, so you'd need that. And the water thing is often, I mean, I don't think I've ever triggered this because of just not getting the water. So going. So the key thing with Lightning Swift Strike that is both very strong and also a bit shifty is the swiftness of lightning. So for every air you have, you may use a slow power as if it were fast. So this is both very powerful and kind of a trap. So watch out. You have no obligation to use things in the fast phase. In fact, that flexibility is pretty valuable. And I think I looked at the map a little bit before I started recording. It'll be a good example of that in the first round or two. So what have we got? We've got a very expensive way of dealing 1 damage to every invader. It costs 3. You might sometimes want to use this to prevent a build, because preventing a build is great. But as you are so good at destroying stuff, it's not such a big deal with lightning. You can let a few builds happen. Shatter Homestead is pretty great. The 2 range from Sacred Site is nice, but the fact you can use this to destroy a town is good, and the fact that it can be in the slow or fast is also great. Moving to Harnabout is useful. This is extra fear, generally worth trying to get every little bit of fear you can. Now, Lightning's Boon doesn't seem like it's going to have much value in a solo game, because you can make another spirit use their powers fast, and so mainly you'll be playing it for icons. That's mainly the case. So, yeah, the powers are kind of, there's nothing too tricksy about the powers apart from the fact that you can play them in the slow phase or the fast phase. All right, so that's a little bit of an overview there, and so we'll get into it now. The thing that's tricky about this spirit is that you've got you have a problem that you have this amazing place track and then you have not much energy to go with it. And you have this option too, which is another wrinkle, so you kind of want to be pushing this if you can. So yeah, it's not the most straightforward spirit, and actually probably, if you're going to get very technical, there are probably a few very precise openings you can do that are very good, and certainly I know that in multi-spirit you can do some pretty mind-blowing things with this spirit in tandem with, say, River. But, okay, so the thing I was talking about earlier, using something like Shattered Homesteads in either the slow phase or the fast phase, because I'll have air, looking at this start position here, we've got mountains, and this is actually a bit this is kind of worked out quite well. We've got we've got a mountain build in here and a mountain build in here. So I'm probably going to want to turn 1 Shatter Homesteads. I'd say that's generally a good thing to do with this spirit. But I can do it in the slow phase, so I can do it after this build. So this will build a town in the slow phase, in the invader phase, and in the slow phase I can use this. So I'm ignoring the ability to do it fast. And the advantage of that is that when this build becomes a Ravage in the subsequent turn, there'll just be this bloke here against the Dahan here. And then that space is dealt with. We don't have to worry about it anymore. So I think that's a pretty decent thing to do. And I think I'll probably I just will let Blight, and I'll probably just focus on clearing the interior here. That's the dream anyway. So, and Lightning does have some tricky stuff with kind of just where you kind of don't necessarily want to play as many cards as you can. It is tricky in that regard. So I definitely want to play this turn 1. So how can I do that? I've got one option, which is to go down this track and get to 2 energy by placing 2 presents. Or I could even just gain the energy this way and only place 1 presence. So, I mean, these are tricky decisions to make, and just in my experience with this spirit is that how tempting this card plays track is, unless you've got other spirits helping you gain lots of minor powers to play, you know, don't get carried away on this track because you won't be able to do much with all those plays. So, I think possibly turn 1, I'm actually just going to be playing a single card, even though I start with 2 plays. This is one of the ways that the spirit is pretty counterintuitive. The other thing to think about, and I think I'm going to go with placing presents to get to this 2 energy, because energy is just always a problem for the spirit. Always a problem. So I'm going to be thinking that this turn I'll play 1 card, because the other reason you want to do this flip-flopping thing, I mean, this isn't the only way to play it, but this is one way, is that to get to this threshold, this Thundering Destruction tier 1, you need 3 fire and an air. And that's actually pretty hard to put, that you need 3 card plays to do that. So chances are I'm going to go this turn, and then next turn play Raging Storm, Harbingers, and Lightning's Boon. And if we actually just do a little bit of maths, just bear with me, a little bit of maths. If we go down here, that means we'll gain 2 energy this turn. So we'll have 2 energy, we'll spend it on Shattered Homesteads. The next turn we'll gain 2 energy again if we go down this track. And if we go with this, we'll have 5 energy, which will be enough to do Raging Storm and Lightning's Boon, and have something for something else. So I think that is roughly the plan. So the next thing is, what do I want to do with my presents? So I can't target in here, and I can't, at the moment, I can't target over here either. And I don't have adjacency. So look at this power here. It's 1 range from a sacred site. So wherever I'm thinking of using my innate here, I need to be next to a sacred site. So obviously this would be a nice thing to destroy maybe next turn. Maybe. But I am definitely going to want to pay attention to this land at some point. And maybe, because this has a range of 2, so maybe I don't need to worry too much about this land here. So I am going to place these presents in here. So now basically the whole board is within 1 of a sacred site apart from this area here. And I'm just going to play the 1 card. So, I mean, I could play Harbingers, if there was a good reason to. But I don't think there is. It's going to be better because if I play it next turn, it will mean I actually get to use my innate. So I'm going to play a single Shatter. It's going to say you can play more power cards. I know, it's alright. So I could play this in the fast phase and destroy this town, but that doesn't really, I mean, it's useful to destroy towns, but destroying the town that's going to be built here is much more useful. So we're going to finish anyway. It's going to be a build here and a build here. And we have a Sand Explore. Okay, so in that instance, destroying this town would have prevented this Explore. so I'm going to destroy this town here. Okay, so now we are back around to the growth phase, and this Ravage is dealt with. We just got that single Explorer versus a Dahan village situation. We've all seen it. And then we've got, over here we have this situation. Let me just do some thinking. So we've got builds here this turn, and as this spirit, we're not too worried about builds. We're just not that worried about it. But we're probably going to use Raging Storm on one of these anyway, because we want to trigger our innate. And although it's expensive... And here's another reason why the spirit is tricky. The only way of gaining a power card, outside other spirits helping you, of course, is on the reclaim. So you kind of... Yeah, it is a tricky one. It's a tricky one. So yeah, I want to go with trigger my innate by playing all of these. And to do that, I am going to have to go with this option here. Charging down this track just won't give me enough energy, so I have to go with this option. Then I want to be thinking about where I'm placing my presence. So, and we want the 3rd card play, and I want to be having the ability to target in here probably. So this area is is going to be clear soon, so it will feel safe. And I'm just going to play all 3 of these here. And I'm playing this, obviously it's not going to have much use except for getting me this effect here, which, again, I'm probably going to use in the slow phase. Yeah. Okay, so we can do 1 damage to each invader. So we're going to use that to clear out one of these lands here. And I think I'll clear out this land. There are Dahan in here, so these guys will clear up if necessary. So it's horrible to spend 3 energy to destroy an explorer. It's how it is. In fact, I could just destroy this town now. Something we do know, something you can always know, is that this 3rd one here is going to be not a mountain or a sands. It's going to be one of the other 2. So in this case, a jungle or a wetlands. So if I destroy this town here, that's going to save us an explore. So we talk about build prevention, but explore prevention is it's even nicer. And the thing is that I'm reclaiming next turn. I know that I can destroy the town in the fast phase next turn, so I'm going to destroy this town instead. And I am going to do it in the fast phase. Still not got a single fear card. And this has to target someone, not to target itself. And then we've got Harbingers of Lightning. So this will gain me an extra fear if I push Dahan into a place with huts. So if I push this Dahan in here, they will die. And and I guess the elephant in the room here is there is a Ravage this turn and a Blight's going to go down. I know. So it might have been better to push a Dahan into here rather than let's just try and be the best human being I can be. So I'm going to push these Dahan into here, and gain that fear, and then I'll do this Thundering Destruction. So that's got me a fear card, which is nice. Each town destroys its scapegoats. This is almost that particular fear card at tier 3. It does destroy cities, destroy towns, and you're very excited to see it. It's almost sad to see it at this stage of the game. Okay, so we have 0 cards in hand. So reclaim feels like the natural thing, but actually you could still probably make a case for going down these tracks. I'm not going to, because I want to keep my island healthy. But yeah, don't always assume that because you've got no cards you want to reclaim. Though with this spirit, as you've got no way of gaining cards except for reclaiming, it's probably still worthwhile. So we've only going to have 3 energy. So I'm going to almost certainly be going with a miner here. And let's look at our turn. So we're going to have 3 energy. We can shatter this homestead, which will clear this land. And then we've got a build here, but that's also fine. We can just build that as long as we trigger our innate, which we could do with Homestead's Harbinger's Lightning to get our 3 fire and 2 air. So yeah, we go with a miner, and so what are we looking for with our miner? Let's try and put it so it's not too. Okay, there's nothing really to worry about in the interior, so I'll just put it there because we're only worried about the coast now. So. Again, most of the time, if you're in a hurry, you're just trying to fit in a game of Spirit Island before you, climb Everest or something, just go with icons. So fire and air is good here because that can get us to higher tiers of our innate. So that's the quick pick. But you also might want to look at what they'll do for you. So drift down here would give me defend 4 in these sands, but it's okay. I've got a solution for those sands. I've got a solution. And it doesn't have the icons I want. So in this case, almost certainly the icons are going to be better. A bit of fast fear is okay. Pushing explorer. Actually, this would be kind of patching up a weak point. But because it doesn't have the icons we have, that again counts against it. If this card wasn't available here with these nice icons, then this pushing explorers would actually be pretty useful because we can't really prevent builds. And then a similar effect there. So we are going to go with that, and that's just almost most of that's because of the icons, because this is actually going to be potentially a useful effect even now, he says. Probably not, but it might be useful. It's going to save us energy because we were playing Lightning's Boon to get the icons we wanted, and now we don't need to. So yeah, we're going to shatter these homesteads, and I mean, we could trigger our innate this turn by playing 3 cards, or we could think, well, do we want to do that next turn? So I quite like trigger our innate to destroy the town that will be built this turn. I like this idea. And we've got, or we could prevent the build. Now, preventing the build is kind of even better, because the effect that'll have is it means that if we're in a new set of Explore cards, we're into the tier 2s now. So if we prevent them from being a building here, then the Explorers can't go in here or here. They're literally restricted to the coast and this land. So yeah, let's do that. Let's use Lure of the Unknown. So we're still getting icons too, so we can destroy this town in here. And then with our third action, we can use the Harbingers to get these guys involved, because they're not really... These Dahan are a resource, so it's good to get them involved. And we've got that tier 1, so yeah, that's nice. It's lovely. So we will destroy this town in here. So now, again, we've got that single explorer versus Dahan situation, so that's now fine. Until you get events, until Branch and Claw arrive, so we don't have to worry about such matters. And... yes, so I am going to drag this fella into one of these lands. If I had an adjacent sand that had Dahan in, and I could actually manufacture that situation, and we could actually wipe out this guy. Yeah, let's do that. Let's pretend. Yeah, because we can also centralize this piece here. So I'm going to lure this one into here, and then I'm going to push this fella into here. So again, we've created this situation: a single explorer versus a Dahan. A Dahan will win. And I mean, we may as well just destroy this town now as well, because there will be no builds. Okay. So we've got the explore there. So we did basically prevent the explore happening in here by doing what we did. So it's slightly convoluted, but you can see that it did have a visible an improvement. So there's going to be a town built in here. We don't care about Ravage, and we're still at terror level 1. We have to completely clean the island in order to win. I don't think we can do that for a while, partly because of the slightly awkward way that the spirit works, but we could maybe set up for next turn. So our innate can destroy cities. To do so, we need 4 fire and 3 air. So we can make that happen. We can try and make that happen next turn. So the way I think I'm going to do that is, so obviously to do this we need 4 plays. We need at least 4 plays to do this. So we need to be going down those tracks. So we need to go at least this far. We're also going to need the energy to play a whole load of cards. We could just prevent this build this turn with Raging Storm. So yeah, we want to get to the 4th play, and it would be, and again we want to prevent this explorer if we can. I mean, this is generally, if you're thinking about preventing explorers, you're probably doing okay. All right, so I could go with this, get us that the 4th presence. The 4th card play. Great, we could Raging Storm this turn. Then we'll have 4 energy next turn, which will be enough to play Homesteads, Harbinger's Lure, and Lightning's Boon, and we shouldn't need Raging Storm, because we don't need this water that we get from Raging Storm until this level here. Okay, that's what I'm going with. Let's see if it actually works. We'll just make another Sacred Site over here, and we're going to do a very costly build prevention here. And I mean, I could Lightning's Boon here, but there'll be actually no point, so I'm not going to. I'm not going to do it. So we'll Raging Storm in here, and again, horribly expensive. Again, nothing happened. Okay, that wasn't the result I wanted. Here I am, I'm trying to make this, trying to end it But okay, so there's people everywhere. But this guy will die on the ravage. This fella here will come to a sticky end, no doubt. And again, I think we're going to go with a miner. So, and again, we mainly care about the coast, so I'm just going to move this here. So, we want to destroy this city this turn. So none of these cards are going to help us, because all of our cards, if we have 4 actions, all of our cards need to have fire on. Okay, so and none of these cards have fire on. So we are picking this card purely or largely for utility. And we are a bit short on fear, but Rain of Blood's only going to generate 2 fear because there are hardly any buildings kicking around. But the priority here is to destroy this city. So we're definitely not playing this turn. I think I'm going to pick up Rain of Blood. It's got the water on and air, and we might soon have enough energy to... So the initial plan was just to use these to trigger the 2nd level of our innate to destroy this city. We can use Shattering Homesteads in the slow phase to destroy the town that's built here. Yeah, I think this is what we're doing. And don't feel there's much to go into here. So I won't try and over explain when it's no necessity. So the main priority here was to destroy the city, so get that done. And where are we with our cards? So we're nearly at terror level 2. Which means that we just need to have no buildings. And obviously for this spirit, the spirit who is great at destroying buildings, that's obviously very nice. Oh, and I've got Harbinger things I should be doing. So I am going to do this just to get this extra fear here. So I need to make sure that I don't prevent this Dahan from doing their good work. So I'm only going to push 1 Dahan into there, which gains me that fear. Lovely. And then we can destroy this city here. And this has to target something, may as well be me. And so, okay, so we're going to have a Sand Ravage. That's going to clear this land before the build. There is going to be a build here. So, and a build here. So I think I'm going to... I'm just going to prevent one of the builds by using this Lure of the Unknown to drag this one into the interior. And this is we're going to save for the slow phase. And I just took it out of the one with Blight in because those are obviously... If a land has Blight on you, you don't want to risk it too much. And then we can shatter this one, this homestead here. We might... Okay, I think we've just won there. So it's a funny old spirit, this one. You see that kind of... You try and it's really good to plan a turn. You don't necessarily want to play all your cards. You don't necessarily want to play things fast when you can play things slow. So yeah, it's a tricky spirit, and I hope that was helpful. As ever, feedback very much appreciated. I am trying to improve these videos over time, and like, subscribe, and that help the channel. And yeah, and I'll catch you next time.